I'm being transparent. EXP to me used to be a cuss word. Oh, they're just recruiters, this, that. And it took me going through what I saw to be my next 25 years of this industry. And I didn't like where it was headed. I didn't know a way to get off of that wheel. I didn't know how to not be competitive against those that have left our team. I didn't know how to build wealth sustainably for all folks in my organization. I didn't know how to grow and scale past just the upstate of South Carolina. And it took me going through some pretty difficult times, truthfully, to be able to look and see like, hey, there's something real to this model. There's something real to the alignment of growth of how EXP does this.
Welcome to the Jeff Sutherlin Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real. Hey, everybody, this is Jeff Sutherlin on the Jeff Sutherlin Show. I am very honored today to have my guest. His name is Mr. Adam Taylor, and he's a very good friend of mine, and I've known him for a couple of years. You know, I always promise you guys on my show that I'm going to bring on amazing people, and I've kept that promise. Week in and week out. I deliver people that just have immense character, immense integrity. And today, Adam and I are going to be talking about a big shift he made in his life. We're going to be making a huge announcement on this podcast. And I met Adam a couple years ago, and it's been a great story. And it's just been so wonderful getting to know Adam better and better every day. So Adam, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. It's always a good time chatting with you, and yeah, we've got some exciting stuff, and yeah, it's some groundbreaking stuff that just a lot of kudos to you for helping me see over the course of time.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Well, why don't you tell the audience what you've been up to, Adam? I think you've had a few things going on lately.
A couple things going on. So I have decided to officially move my shingle from my previous brokerage to EXP Realty, and I never ever thought I would do that. Through Jeff's mentorship, his tutelage, on exploration, I just came to the conclusion that this is the way of the future, and that this is better for not just for me, but for my whole team. I'm a firm believer that true wisdom is wisdom for all and not wisdom for one. And I came to that conclusion, and I'm excited to rock and roll.
Wow, this is huge. So when we look back at your career, and one thing that we have a common agreement on is like wherever we've been, we honor where we've been, right? You've had some great experiences along the way, and in your previous brokerage, you were at the top of your game. At one point, were you like the most producing team in the Carolinas at one point?
Yeah, so I've been in the business for 7 years, and it's been a quick, somehow very fast, and somehow very slow 7 years, it feels, when I reflect back on it. In my 7-year career, I've been the number one individual agent in North and South Carolina within Keller Williams. And then I was also the number one team in North and South Carolina. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of years of production, a lot of years of sharpening my craft. And yeah, we're almost at 1,000 homes sold. So we've got a lot of experience under our belt, but it's been quite a fun journey.
That's awesome, Adam. Tell us a little bit about the journey that you've gone through, right? Were there any ahas along the way that you had that you're like, wow, okay, I didn't know that? Or was there a turning point? Was there like a pivotal moment in this due diligence process that we've been going through the last couple of years? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, I've had people that tell me there's two ways to learn, by wisdom or knowledge. And I had to, unfortunately, go through some knowledge learning, if you will. We had a dear friend who was on our real estate team, helped us build it, who did his first year of production around the $10 to $11 million production range. And then he decided to go out on his own. And I just saw myself for the next 20 to 25 years, just training what I consider to be my competition. And the thing is, I'm a firm believer that collaboration is a lot better than competition. And so when I looked at the growth alignment of what the organizational model that EXP offers through the revenue sharing model, what it does is it incentivizes growth for all. Again, it's not wisdom for one or growth for one. It's growth for all. So what I begin to see is like, okay, well, I can help them exit my team if they would like to, and give them my blessing. And then I'm still incentivized to help them grow and grow at a higher level and do it better than maybe I've done. And at my previous brokerage, that was that just doesn't exist. And so what I saw was just a 20 to 25-year-old runway of a constant cycle where people are in and out. And I just choose to have a relationship with people long term rather than just for a short season.
Yeah. And so you train them up on Adam Taylor's team, you develop the culture, you pour into them, right? And I don't care what anybody says. When you have somebody leave after you poured into them like that, it takes a little piece of your heart with you. And then all of a sudden they're on another model. They're not, you can't really have that synergy anymore. And with EXP, we can, right? So that's a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I just saw it as a more sustainable thing. I think truthfully, if I'm in a good headspace, I give abundantly. I'm an open book, but when I'm in a bad headspace, I become competitive. And I think it's not, you need to have some introspection on what that looks like. And it's okay to be competitive with your business, but what it's not okay is to be competitive with those that you've poured into. And when I just saw like I said, another 20 to 25-year-old runway of always having to replenish and always having to train my competition. And with this, it's an alignment for me to help them grow and do it better than I did.
Yeah, and it's kind of exciting when I see your team because, first of all, I love them. I mean, you've hired amazing human beings, right? Just good quality people. Very happy to be there, excited about the mission of your team. And so when you're looking at EXP, did you see anything where you're like, man, the whole team's going to completely benefit from this? Not just me, but how does the whole team win at EXP?
Yeah. Well, it's, one of the things that I saw is whenever you are a team leader, you've got responsibility, of course, to not only meet payroll, but to what is the plan to help these people become wealthy? Give them opportunity, give them choices. And, even our admin, because we have such good systems and processes and they're so well respected in their community, having the opportunity for them to possibly become an icon agent, they're good enough to be a rock star admin on the team, but then also sell enough real estate to achieve icon status. So having them an opportunity to create some revenue share themselves, to have opportunity for stock with the opportunity to sell, what it does is it helps create them multiple paths and avenues so that they can have a retirement one day.
Yeah. And that's honestly, that's where EXP is different from 99% of the other brokerages, right? We usually have lane one, sales, and that's what the broker leans into and helps you sell. And sometimes they may not even help you do that much sales, but they're just kind of like, hey, good luck. But you got lane one, and then you got lane two, which is equity build up. So you can accumulate stock over the years, and finally you have revenue share. So we have three different lanes. I've honestly never been in a more entrepreneurial, real estate company since I've been doing it 25 years ago. So now you're able to help these people have a clear exit strategy at the end, which most agents, they don't have that.
Right.
I mean, would you agree with that? They just don't. Most agents are not like, you have a minority of agents that understand it's important to invest in real estate along the way, and they buy homes, they buy rentals and such, but most agents don't even do that. So, we give these options and hopefully people will pull those levers and work on them.
That's right. Yeah. I think the industry is really headed to folks that are, maybe not the title of financial advisor, but like advisors who happen to sell real estate. So whether it be the, ancillary services through mortgage or the real estate sales side of things or revenue share or stock options, you just have options. And then there's a lot of folks out there that would consider what true wealth is the ability to choose. It may not even necessarily be the number of zeros in a bank account. It's just an ability to choose. And that's what I want for my folks.
Yeah. And bigger is not always better.
Right.
Especially when it comes to team development, right? You probably have this number in your mind of where you want to be with your team and kind of what that growth looks like. What does that look like, Adam, when you look at your future? And have you thought a little bit about that vision of the team? And, what do you really want with this transition?
Yeah. So I love training and coaching and giving and helping people succeed. And with the previous model that I was in, we're a little bit confined by geography. And one of the cool things here that I love with EXP is the ability to reach out and touch people all across the country to help them do it a better way sooner in their career than I did, help them grow and scale. I mean, we've done things in 7 years that are pretty tremendous, but we've got a lot to learn ourselves. And so it's really cool for us to be able to look ahead at those giants and where they are as we strive after them. All the while we're building an organization that folks are striving after us. And it's this really cool collaboration and alignment of growth that doesn't exist elsewhere. And I can say that having been in other places.
Yeah. And isn't part of your mission to be like the number one go-to choice in the upstate of South Carolina?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so our vision statement is that we are the resource for all things real estate in the Upstate. So, reaching out and building the mortgage arm and building the title arm and really just being a sticky advisor for people that, truthfully, I didn't even think about this before we had this call, is if we are the great connector of all things for the Upstate, it creates stickiness with our client. I had a client's unfortunate story. She moved here and she was moving her father and her mother here after they had just retired. Well, he had been here 2 weeks and he passed away, unfortunately. And guess who the first person that she called was? Me. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know where a good funeral home was. She didn't know where her resources were around here. So I think the better that we are at being a great connector, going past the transaction, it's just going to continue to help us be all things real estate for folks here in the upstate of South Carolina. But the cool thing is, there's a path forward with this model of sometimes we can in the future maybe take away the upstate of South Carolina, make it South Carolina, and then we can make it the Southeast. So it gives you a lot of ability to grow and scale nation.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the stuff you're talking about, it's so key to developing a sphere of influence that deeply supports you. And it's like the care after the sale, right? It's the post-sale care. A lot of agents just close the deal and they move on. And it's very transactional, right? And now you're developing this team of people that understand that it's not just one transaction, it's an ongoing relationship. I mean, the fact that that person called you and asked you that question, I mean, that says everything, right? And that's the culture you're providing in your team and the leadership, and you're leading from the front, you know?
That's right. Yeah. Well, we try to, I had a mentor that told me one time that there's two types of people in the world, those who are influence driven and those who are affluence driven. And we just choose to align ourselves with influence driven people that do it for the right reason. You do things the right way for the right reason and do it well, the money will follow. It's just my opinion that being an influence driven person leads to real impact and real life change for a community and for folks that need it.
Yeah. It's you can see why I think so highly of Adam, my friends. I've been doing this 25 years, mostly in a recruiting and a growing company place. I mean, growing places like Keller Williams, growing my own independent brokerage to 250 agents in the worst of times, in the worst of financial times. I can honestly tell you, and from my heart of hearts, because I probably at this point recruited like 2,500 to 3,000 people in my career. Adam is one of the very, very best. And I tell you that because when I first met Adam, I just have to brag on Adam for a minute. I actually read his biography and I was like, this can't be real. This guy's a captain. This guy's a captain in the Army National Guard. Okay. So I honor him deeply because he serves our country and he still does. He's a family man. He loves his children. Right. And he's pointing at the Lord, which is something else we have in common. Thank the Lord. And so he's a guy that serves his country. He loves his family. He serves his church. He serves God. He serves his people that he works with on a day to day. And he's a top producer. And he was, by the way, he also played professional baseball. So I was like, I got to call this guy just to say hello. And he was kind enough not to hang up on me. So we talked for a while and I just was persistent and persistent and persistent. At times he was probably like, oh my gosh, here's Jeff again. And he never shut me down. He was always kind about it. So I'm grateful for that. And then we just had another amazing human being come into both of our lives, Rich Tomasini, who also lives in Greenville. But boy, what a great place to live, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like heaven on earth there. Anyway, so Rich Tomasini and I and Adam started to collaborate. And before you know it, like it's just a fierce triad of men.
It is. We won't leak the group chat. Not that there's anything crazy. It's just boys being boys having fun.
That's right. Well, I don't want to belabor the conversation, but is there anything else, Adam, you want to tell everybody as we're ramping this thing up? Because it's ramping fast. And if I were any agent out in that area, any agent in the country, you should call Adam and just talk to him because the guy's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. No, what I would say is that, if I'm being transparent, EXP to me used to be a cuss word. Oh, they're just recruiters. They're just this, they're just that. And it took me going through what I saw to be my next 25 years of this industry. And I didn't like where it was headed. I didn't know a way to get off of that wheel. I didn't know how to not be competitive against those that have left our team. I didn't know how to build wealth sustainably for all folks in my organization. I didn't know how to grow and scale past just the upstate of South Carolina. And it took me going through some pretty difficult times, truthfully, to be able to look and see like, hey, there's something real to this model. There's something real to the alignment of growth of how EXP does this. And it took me from being such a loyal KW person. You never hear me say one bad thing about KW at all. I attribute a lot of what I know and what I have to the training there. However, I grew out of it and I saw that there's a better way to do it. This is coming from one of the, again, I'll again, maybe brag on myself or use numbers for a minute, but this is I'm one of the top KW agents, was one of the top KW agents in the United States. And there is a better way. So, take it from me of somebody who is looking out for not only myself, my family, but then my entire team of 16 people. I believe that this model is the way of the future. And I am excited to help other folks learn how to do this so that they don't have to go through the things that I went through.
Yeah, well said. And by the way, Adam's due diligence process was thorough. Adam met the CEO, Leo, who also used to be a top KW agent himself. He met the CFO with us. He met Brent Gove. He met my one of my direct applying senior partners, Curtis Johnson. I paraded Adam in front of everybody I possibly could. And you know what? He delved into it. He asked tough questions, right? And I would encourage you to do the same. Right? It's like, if you're closed off in business, then you're missing something. You should always be open-minded. People are always doing things better. And so if you become closed off like that, I think you might miss big opportunities.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's a good idea to be open-minded to have conversations because I think the Lord has called us to, especially if you're a team leader, look out for your entire team. Wisdom for all, not wisdom for one. But then go into it a little bit skeptical of help me understand why. Because what happens there is as you truly critically think, it becomes your ideas, it becomes your truth, it becomes your understanding so that the decision becomes kind of a no-brainer. It became kind of a no-brainer for me a couple weeks before I even transferred my license over of there's just a better way to do it. Truthfully, Jeff, if KW had this model, I don't know if I would have left because I love that that much.
Yeah, sure.
But they just don't. And again, like I've said it before, I think this is the path to success, path to sustainability, and the path to truly being an advisor for all folks.
Yeah. I think in some ways the franchising model limits growth. And I think the technology scalability of our company is just magnificent, and it's a little, well, it's a lot easier to do collaboration, not just across the United States and Canada, but also internationally. We're in over 30 countries. So I'm placing people in other countries and that's beyond exciting, and you can go to other countries and talk to your colleagues that you brought into the company. It's magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, I guess, last question, Adam, 2026, what do you see for 2026?
So 2026, I see us still just continuing to crush it on the sales side of things because let's be real. At the end of the day, if we're not, tacticians on the sales side of things, we're not going to get the opportunities on the stock side. And then if we're not doing well there, we're not really taking advantage of what we could be doing on the ancillary services side. So I see us somewhere around the 225 to 250 transaction mark. I see us in the 80 to $90 million range, which is a big team for here in South Carolina. I'd love to do one mortgage a week. As an underwriter before, the mortgage side isn't all that difficult for me, but again, showing consistency and giving that back to the consumer in terms of a better deal. And then also too, just growing the organization, help getting the word out about a better way to do things. So I don't necessarily want to maybe even put a number on growing the organization, just being influence driven, intentional with those that we get an opportunity to be around. I know the Lord's going to take care of the numbers and the success after that.
That's right, because everything flows from production. When you're excellent in production, everything else happens.
Correct.
Stock happens. More agents are excited. They want to learn things, and it's just an easier conversation. And you track people in life in general when you're in mastery. When you're mastering something on your own, and you're also trying to master the company that you're working within and all the tools that we have, and then it becomes just it's a very productive conversation. And there's so many there's some fallacies out there about EXP, like we're just a bunch of recruiters. Actually, last year we were number one in the world in transaction count, 350,000 transactions, and every single year our corporate C-suite just gets better and better, and they're giving us more to use to help us make our lives better. And that is the key difference. Is Glenn Sanford, when he started the company, he wanted both of us, the agent and him, to be on the same side of the table. And I love that because when you look at our C-suite, we have a bunch of high producing practitioners when they were in their production days. These people are not ivory tower leaders. They're actually people like us that produced a lot of real estate. I love that. And they're never going to lose that because they know what it was like to do that.
Yeah.
So, I'm really excited to hear about your vision, because I think that the more you scale up your production, everything else just kind of naturally happens from that.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree that we can't confuse what the main thing is. And the main thing is being great on the sales side. And like you said, everything else flows from there. So we'll let the numbers take care of the numbers. We're going to do our thing. We're going to be disciplined and consistent and see where the chips fall.
Yeah. And you know what? Already people are wanting to talk to Adam. And I would encourage you, especially if you're in that area, Adam. I've talked to many of agents out there that know who you are, Adam, and he's well respected. Just ask him for a cup of coffee and talk shop. Here's the thing: there's never any harm in building relationships.
Absolutely.
Like when you walk away from Adam or people of that caliber, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn a lot, and there's no harm in that. And if you love where you're at, stay where you're at, no problem. But always look for opportunities to talk to people like Adam, for sure.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Brother, I'm excited. I'm honored beyond belief to be in business with you. Adam, tell them, by the way, how people across the country can get a hold of you in South Carolina.
Yeah. So my email address is adam@adamtaylorteam.com. That's probably the best way. Email me there. I'll give you my personal number from there. I'm an open book. I'll give you the answers to the test, or what I believe the answers are to the test. And if I can help anybody with thinking differently about how they grow and scale and be sustainable, I'd be honored to do that.
And you just heard from Adam Taylor, South Carolina. He lives in Simpsonville, actually. Beautiful place. I'll be going there in a couple of weeks. And so please reach out to him. Welcome him to EXP if you get a chance. It's an honor to be in business with him now. And thank you, Adam, for your time today.
Thank you, Jeff. Always a pleasure.
You got it.